Wait, I'll see my super secret passwords. You can still see it. There's that. 5 minutes to spare. Yes. Oh, thank you.
Well,
Appreciate it. Calls are so loud today.
what was so?
The falls, you hear that?
Oh,
Yeah,
the water's moving.
that's what I hear all day. And then Alyssa will be talking to me. I'm like, I can't hear you.
So sometimes it gets past like a relaxing, because
Yeah.
it could be relaxed.
Sometimes I don't even notice it, but the last few days I have for sure. When the chunks were coming over the other day, it shakes the building.
Oh, really?
The big chunks of ice will come over and yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah.
So that's some of the windows, here's some of the pictures.
Yeah, we had to straighten them a couple of times.
They were big. They were
Yeah, they're big.
half the size of this table, probably.
Mhm. Some of them probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's an impact. Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion for this evening's agenda?
John, may I interrupt you before you get to that? I have a question, and I'm not sure if this is the right time or this is the right place, but I know we talked about the 284 agreement.
Uh-huh.
And it not being signed, but we did it in our organizational meeting.
Can you hold off to communications?
Okay, I didn't know if we wanted to add this agenda item. Talk about it, because I don't-
Sure. Would you like to add that to the agenda?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we'll make that number 28. '84 agreement. And we'll make 29 public comment. 30 executive session and adjournment 31.
Thank you.
Does that work? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you moving that agenda then with that
Yes.
addition?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
I'll sign that. Any other discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to public comment. Please provide your name, address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, please.
Roll Whitley, 7 Lane. Anyway, before. I was here last month. Learned about the signage. That we currently have. It's a reminder, January I presented supervisors with half a dozen cases for decisions. Relative to posting the sign, temporary sign. Supervisor indicated at that time that he was going to pass it on to the town attorney for the year. And the attorney last meeting said that he was still reviewing those. Disappointed that we're still waiting now a couple of months after I raised the issue. It's not the agenda. That guys are talking about. I'm concerned about. Not just good, but people stuff. So we've decided as a turn to the possibility of litigation. My is that we go back to regulating some of those concerns relative to the display of those signs. There is a considerable amount of people within the town that feel the same way that I do. That I want some of that we can make be more capable of I don't say more than but give you That old says, it's the Lord. Yes, down below. January 20. 9:15. Flags were engaged there. Later in the day, flag was at post. That was a complete violation of USA code. USA code is the law for you. Someone, you, made the decision, violate Constitution, violate your code, violate USA code. Why? I don't know. But I know that's a clear violation. Seems to be inconsistent with your approach towards the way you're governing. I ask you, to please remember the code. Please remember the Constitution. Please remember the oath of office. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Question on the town line road. Last year we were asked. Pool audit. This is that. Two boards on the audit. Get down there, go take boys. That's the. Also attached. Pictures, probably have to swallow. And I prove that's what works. It's all right here, nothing's being done about it, going on 3 years. Yeah, so that stinks. So I'm offering up. Fuel audit. What belongs to it? From the highway department, there's 3 or 4 copies of the. Disgust. Absolute lack of respect for the employees. What is these people feel? It's expressive. I got copies of someone who like.
Anyone else like to speak during public comment? We'll move on to communications, Michelle.
Just still finishing up taxes. I think I'm down to about 1.7 left, which is right around the normal for this time frame. So other than that, I really don't have much. Been training a new staff member in my office, so that takes up a little bit of time, and she's doing really well. So that's all I got.
Brett?
Got the. Planning board. It's been in recent meetings. There is one coming up on April 2nd. Expect to have public hearing for the amending gate, which is an upgrade of the gas line to open on 64, it's north of the thruway. A single family site plan returning, they did a variance, I think they're on schedule for CBA coming out. Attended various meetings with our town engineers, MRB to recap proposed 2025 projects. Some of those projects that we're looking at is Stone Walton Road. Presentation tonight, some discussion, Amon Road stormwater, expected to break ground later this month for it. Some improvements at Dry Sky Fields. We asked them to take a look at possibility of adding some more soccer fields and retaining wall down on 251 that we've been working on for a couple of years now. Met with the DOT about that as well. Moving forward at the pace of the DOT with that. Had meetings with the planning board attorney, CEO, and then also talked at the Association of Towns about various zoning zoning code discussions, including looking at possibility of our sign ordinance. As hey, for some patience here. Things don't happen quick in municipalities. They take time to research, and make sure we get them correct. He also, there's been a lot of guidance that's on that. Went to the MCBA meeting. One date of note is they have the beautification of the hamlet scheduled for May 17th. I attended the Association of Towns training. It was very good. A lot of things that we looked into, some of the sessions I took included 2 sessions of strategic planning. How to make plans happen, get the funding for them. It's a session for managing the talent pipeline, how to attract next generation to the public sector. Workforce development. There was one for the employees' well-being. There was another one attended for employee benefits. Specifically healthcare, a lot of good discussion about what other towns do. Which one of skills to make great board members, that was really geared more to the planning board and the CBA. Couple ones that have to do with the budget and funds. And there was a question and answer with New York State AOP staff and lawyers. Talked with various residents. I had some of them have some concerns about pressure from development from our neighboring towns. They have concerns that neighboring towns are getting full. I think the developers are going to start looking towards London to talk about the comprehensive plan and zoning. And I had a couple of them that gave compliments on the diligence of the plowing this year for what a tough year it was. And that is all that I have.
Where you start, I just want to, oh, I'm sorry, that's why I moved the boat again. So, I can't see people.
I attended the New York State Association of Towns annual training February 16th and 17th. I did take 12 classes, which I wrote a summary highlighting the key takeaways, and I shared it with the fellow board members. Some of the trainings that I took were the fiscal oversight responsibilities of town officials, employee benefit, cost trends and options, employee well-being in the public sector, and skills that make a great board member. That's just some of the 12 that I took. I find that training is very beneficial. It really helps me with understanding my roles for board, and I appreciate the funding and the approval to send me for the training. I would like to give a shout out to Caleb at the highway department. If you hadn't heard, Caleb came across a resident stuck in the snowbank and assisted helping with him get unstuck. So that was a thank you and outstanding work. I attended a zoning board of appeals meeting on February 27th. There was 2 applicants. The first one was for 67 Hidden Ridge Trail, requesting a variance for a 2.5 car detached garage, which would exceed the 2% maximum lot coverage by 412 square feet. And after the board reviewed the application, they approved it. The second applicant was 324 Fountain Hill Road, consisting of 26 acres. They were requesting relief to construct a pole barn in front of their primary residence. And the code does not permit accessory structures built in the front. The board reviewed the application and approved the variance given the requested location because it was the best place to build due to the back of the property being wet. And Mr. Finn, who is the resident of Fountain Hill Road, thanked Ms. Buckland for her help and commented that she was an asset to the town and his application process. From that ZBA meeting, the board has requested that the town board, when we adopt a local law, such as the accessory structures, that the town board ask for input from not only the planning board, but the ZBA. one of the ZBA members inquired why the Fountain Hill Road variance was before them and not in front of the planning board. Where Tom Borey stated that the town had adopted a local law in December of 2024. And so I think we need to make sure that we are communicating the changes to the proper departments that are. The next ZBA meeting is on March 27th with 2 applications, and I have a conflict that night, so I'm hoping that someone would be able to cover the meeting for me. If you are willing, please let me know and I'll let Brooke know. March 27th. On March 6th, I performed the annual review of Justice Court records for June through August of 2024 for both Stephen Maxton and Kara Briggs. The cash receipt books and the bank reconciliations were accurate. Reports made to the Justice Court funds were timely and agreed with the amounts in the cash receipt and disbursement records. Michelle was very helpful answering my questions and her organization was easy to follow. And then I had sent an email to each board member individually regarding the New York State Celebration of Towns and the town historian's response. So I would like the board's input, which is on the agenda for further tonight at 25, that we can get into for that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Cindy?
Excuse me, sorry. Yes. With regard to the library, the Friends began distributing MPL magnets to attract new people to the library. And they distributed special bookmarks at the library this last week for Read Across America Week. The Friends will also have their annual flower sale in May. They did purchase some puzzles from Bleak House for the collection and 2 kids' picnic tables. Photographer Paul Bergwald's exhibit has been very well received. The summer reading program has a number of fun activities planned. And Teen Tuesday, teen volunteer time is active. Stained art is in progress for the summer reading decoration. And in March, floral terrarium workshop will take place for the teens. With regard to adults, a travel talk featuring Ireland and Scotland has been very well received. And the Dunleavy School of Irish Dance performed on March 8th, this past Saturday. The library is planning a tea ceremony, history talks, and opportunities to gather over a cup of coffee on Monday mornings and meetups for movie matinees on Fridays. Lila has completed her annual review report, and that is available for anyone who wants one, and I believe she's sending it down. I also completed the highway fuel audit, and all information is in order. One other thing, going back to Tim's comment regarding Caleb. I happened to be at the highway department that day when the person who got stuck in the snowbank came in to rave about Caleb. And when I asked him about the picture with Caleb, he said, well, of course, doesn't everybody want my picture? So it was quite an interesting story to hear it firsthand.
Thank you. Tom?
Yeah, Historic Preservation Committee had no business before it this month, so we canceled this month's meeting. Environment Conservation Board, we did not have any business in front of it, but as I've been telling the board, we're in the very early stages of following the guidance from the county and coming up with a local climate action plan. It's kind of fortuitous that Andy Less, who is from the village ECB, he just wanted to come and show up at the meeting. And it was great because they've already kind of gotten started on the action plan. Both they have and the school district. So his input, like I said, it just was happenstance that he decided to come to this meeting, but was very helpful. So one of the things that he gave the name, I believe her name was Wendy Quinn. She's from the county, and she gave the village a lot of guidance getting started. And so we have invited her to either this coming meeting or one after that. The only other thing to note is Harry Allen Park on April 1st. The environmental fair by the village, ECB. It's it. I'll take a look and see there, April 1st, April 22nd, or 26th, like those are. So anyways, I'm sure it's whatever Saturday. It's there, so. Also, like Kim, I did go and audit the court today. It's in order, as you stated, and as Cindy said, the fuel audit, everything was. That's it.
Thank you. Couple of things. First of all, we've been notified that the car charging station at the library, the company that's currently providing the service apparently is not going to provide that service anymore. We did get in touch with one other company. It was pretty expensive to switch over to this company because they require their own software, et cetera. So I have reached out to the other town supervisors in Monroe County to find out those other municipalities that have charging stations. Who it's through, what are they, how are they proceeding, and how's the any cost for anybody who's changed vendors lately. I also attended the Association of Towns trainings. I had an opportunity to sit down with one of the attorneys privately, Katie Hoshkat from the Association of Towns, and talk about temporary signs. She since has followed up with some information that I found extremely helpful and that I have forwarded on Brian. We're going to get together this in the next couple of weeks to go through that. I think I asked her for what she would have that would be as bulletproof as possible. In other words, something that's going to hold up in court, that because there are a lot of concerns about freedom of speech versus temporary signs. And so she sent me a lot of good information. So it is something we're working on going forward. I did find out while I was down there that we have some outstanding funds due to some work that was done at the highway department through the state comptroller's office. So I did get that information, passed it on to a staff member. It's the only thing they could tell me if there was it's at least $50. So we were pursuing that. Also, some of the other classes I attended that I found most helpful were fiscal oversight and employee counseling, something called Which Fund, which determines what fund various charges get charged to, and workforce development, which I know one of you mentioned, which I found extremely helpful because a lot of municipalities are having trouble filling positions in-house, and much like we have done with our finance, they've had to go outside the personnel at town hall for various specialties. Also, I attended one in ambulance service, and both Councilman Rosick, myself are meeting with the mayor later this week regarding the ambulance service in the 10th Amendment. We had a door replaced in the basement at Town Hall. We're waiting for a replacement door for the highway department. It's been back ordered. We did receive our sales tax fourth quarter for 2024. It is up 25,000, which is compared to this same quarter last year, which is always a good thing. Our between reserves and our various investments, we received about $225,000 interest in 2024. I completed the information with Bernie Donegan for their annual report. There are people who oversee any bonds that we do. Met with the state DOT regarding the sidewalks on 251. And we have applied for In Bloom again with Monroe County for flowers for various places around the hamlet and town buildings. Soccer fields, we met with the people from the Blaze Soccer. Brent and I met with them. We're going over the existing fields, which do need some drainage work. And we feel we can better, by changing the dimensions of the fields, we can provide more fields and provide better drainage. Also, in overtime in January and February, the Michelle gave me a report, we spent $40,000. It's indicative of the weather we had. And that concludes my communication. We'll move on to supervisor's monthly report.
The motion to acknowledge receipt of the supervisor's monthly report for January 2025.
Second.
Excuse me, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Town clerk's monthly report.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's monthly report for February 2025, showing receipts and disbursements in the amount of $13,290.50.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Minutes?
I move it, I'd like to make a move, I'd like to move, to approve the minutes of the organizational meeting held February 8th or 10th. 2045, as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Next are budget adjustments. I do have on a separate piece of paper an additional budget transfer for this evening that I would like the board to consider.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Transfer regarding Splash Park Capital Project.
I'll make a motion to transfer $975 from the general appropriations account 89950.900 to capital project revenue account H5031. The board approves the closure of the Splash Park capital project after this transfer is complete.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Vouchers.
Make a motion for all claims on voucher number 25-083 to 25-094 on general abstract 25-03, the amount of $32,069.85.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
any opposed? Thank you.
Make a motion to approve all claims on voucher number 25-095, 25-138 on general abstract 25-03, amount of $81,074.29.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you.
Make a motion to approve all claims on voucher number 25-118 25. Pardon me, 25-150 and general abstract 25-03, the amount of $70,701.65.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, any opposed?
I'd like to also make note, the library abstract A, voucher number 25-027, 25-032 on library abstract 25-03, the amount of $1,107.57 were presented to the town for payment. And on library abstract B, library vouchers number 25-033, 25-044 on library abstract 25-03, the amount of $5,897.90 were presented to the town for payment.
Thank you. Number 12 is Town Assessor. This is for reappointment.
I'd like to move to reappoint Town Assessor James A. McGrath to a term to expire September 30th, 2030.
Second that.
Any discussion? 6 years is a normal term for an assessor. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, number 13, zoning board of appeals attorney. This is for appointment.
I'll make a motion to appoint. As written in here, to reappoint our existing zoning board of appeals attorney who is, looks to see what is changing the name on the shirt. Company's getting bought out.
Yes.
A second.
Any discussion?
I think he does a good job. I think it's very good for the town.
Yes, he's just, his firm was bought out, and so that necessitated this reappointment or appointment. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next, number 14, zoning board member of appeals. This is for appointment.
Make a motion to appoint Paul Morosco to the zoning board of appeals, term to expire December 31st, 2027.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Number 15, dog control training center.
I'll make a motion to approve the attendance of Kevin Junji at the 2025 Dog Control Officer Educational Seminar on May 14th through 15th at the West Webster Fire Department. All legal and necessary expenses to be paid in an amount not to exceed $160 plus mileage. From account A3510.400. Also, no.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Comptroller's Finance School.
I'll make a motion to approve the attendance of Brett Rozak at the finance school put on by the New York State Comptroller's Office, May 21st to 22nd and June 11th through the 12th. All legal and necessary expenses to be paid in an amount not to exceed $85 per class from the account A1010.400.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, number 17 is, the title on that should be Stony Lonesome Road Design Plans, not survey. Survey we did last. Is it, let him first.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Tom?
Good evening. Want to give you guys a quick update since the last meeting. We gone out, we picked up a survey, we also got some plans here to present. So you, so the public. Before you is Stony Lonesome Road, Quaker Meeting House Road is over here, Route 65 is on the side. What we're talking about is removing about 400 linear feet of Stony Lonesome Road, putting in a cul-de-sac at the end here. This will do a number of things. It'll significantly improve this intersection. The past 4 years, there's been 23 accidents that have occurred here. Very dangerous situation for visibility, where you can't see from making this crossing and coming up or going back down. So through this, we are looking at installing a cul-de-sac at the end. There's adequate right of way to accommodate that. We have a draft plan that we prepared that I can share with you tonight. Right now, we can accommodate about a 15-foot diameter cul-de-sac. It's not the town standard, but it's very close. We still accommodate maneuverability of backing in and backing out. This road, which extends up to 65, will be removed, turn into the long driveway. There is a existing gravel drive access point further up here. This gentleman or family also has another access point onto 65. So this would become a gravel drive that they would maintain if they want to keep that access. So the next steps are the town board meeting with these neighbors and talking them through this. Those discussions. So that's where we are. We kind of jumped right in and started running it after we got approval there. I do have a couple other projects. I can take this moment to share with you too. We've been talking about sidewalks, sidewalk extensions across the Hamlet area, right up through here is 251, and this is 64. Show you guys again, 251, 64. We talked about the fact that we've gotten a grant for Miles Square Road, this portion. This section as well doesn't have a grant, but we met with DOT last week to talk to them about extending sidewalks on the south side of 251 up to Miles Square Road. And last year, you may recall, we did a portion of Assembly Drive, but we didn't have an opportunity to finish it. But we hope to complete that this year, as this would make a crosswalk up through here. These other dashed areas show you guys again. We're talking about, in case you didn't see it, Assembly Drive, the sidewalk over here last year. Here's the 251. We got with New York State DOT. These dashed areas are the future sidewalks. We don't have funding for those, but again, it's the kind of the long-term plan that's outlined in the comprehensive plan and other documents. In regard to Stony Lonesome Road, we have developed plans which we submitted to Monmouth County DOT for their review and approval.
Miles Square.
Oh, sorry, Miles Square. Miles Square. We submitted those to Monmouth County. They're in their process of reviewing them. On Miles Square, this is Lehigh Valley Trail. That's going south through here. We had an informal meeting. We mailed out flyers to the neighbors. We're going to set that up for tomorrow night. They have those discussions with them.
Is that on the east side of Moss Square?
It is on the east side. Correct.
So there'll be 2 crosswalks on 251.
Ultimately, let me turn to that page.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did a good job with that.
So there would be two crosswalks, correct? So this is as we approach Miles Square up to 251. In meeting with New York State DOT, they don't typically cross or hatch out crosswalks unless you have 20 to 30 pedestrian crossings. So we don't have that volume of walkers at this location, so this most likely will not be crossed out or hatched, and they would go for this one as well. So the DOT really kind of controls what goes on at this intersection. We did have some discussions with them about a possible stop sign and to help slow things down, provide some additional traffic calming. They basically ruled that out, but they said that they would take a look at it. They felt that that stop sign is not a applicable use for traffic calming. So that's still under consideration, but most likely.
Would they ever consider like flashing lights at least temporarily? I mean, I just, people have been driving that road for 50 years and they come up on top of that hill, they're going 50 miles an hour and
Right.
it's a pretty quick stop.
One thing they talked about, Tom, were like the lights that you have out here of other towns where you press the button and the yellow caution lights start going.
Nice, so yeah, something like that, I think would.
Yeah, I think that would be a good.
Tom, if I can interject, we also talked to him about there's a sign as you're going east on 251, just east of Miles Square Road that says speed limit 50. And we talked to him about possibly moving that sign further down to the west because as we all know, the law says the speed limit doesn't change till you get to the sign. But people don't necessarily regard that. They see the sign in the distance and they start going faster. And we've had a lot of complaints about speeding in that area. If it was up to me, we did turn into a 4-way stop, but obviously the state's going to control that. So, and some of these little things that we're doing, hopefully will help the situation.
No, they're asked, we're gonna keep asking those questions. Obviously, we want to make it safer, very good community. Reason,
Sorry if I can, yeah, or you were gonna.
Yeah, I was
talk
gonna
about
say-
lights on these.
yeah, the reason it's on the east side, it really sets up for future extensions of sidewalk. If you look back on southern plan that we had, the overall. Accommodates future sidewalks on Miles Square on the east side coming down to here. There's a lot of undeveloped property over here, so it'd be easier to install sidewalks as opposed to interrupting lawns and access driveways. Fire was chosen. Also, if there were any development, each of the residents, for development, we asked to put in sidewalk. So right there, with the obviously around the stadiums. The plans I have in here are the Assembly Drive, what we talked about, getting the crosswalk at this location. Again, this most likely will not be straight or patched off, just based on volume. We did also look at potential crossing. Charleston Drive up top in here. Don't believe we have enough adequate site distance to accommodate that. One additional opportunity might be to extend sidewalks on the north side up to the Niagara Meadows Marketplace. That's something for you guys to consider and think about. Again, fortunately, just the way the curve is, the way the vegetation is, it's just kind of very difficult to see. That's more just 251. Additional plans that we're working on, we're sending cross sections and more details or it's in New York State DOT a little bit that. So we're in process. We hope to have some answers from them on what we can do, what we can't do. We don't want to put expensive retaining walls on the south side of 51. We're talking about maybe some curbing and some sidewalks. Looks like we can accommodate that, but it requires more drainage.
Thank you. Thanks. Any other discussion?
I think that on Stony Lonesome, I just wanted to restate that the accidents that we've seen on Stony, or pardon me, this state found on Stony Lonesome, all except for one of them were from people crossing over 65. So and the state hesitated to give us a turnaround period of 4 to 6 years for them to do something. That's why, in my opinion, that's why we should forward on this, making that one way to stop, eliminate that crossover.
Great. Any other discussion?
I'm just add to that too, sorry. Once we get actual responses back, we'll be holding a formal public meeting in regard to that. So, update the public on what we're looking at, if it's accepted by them.
Thank you.
Sure. And then I know we're planning on knocking on some doors there. There aren't very many doors, but they still need to be knocked on. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to records management grant application for.
Make a motion to adopt the following resolution supporting the town grant application from New York State Archive. 5.6 local government records management improvement fund program for document conversion and access of building codes to the Department of Records with a whole bunch of whereas that.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to make a comment that when we were in New York City for the training, several of us did lobby with the New York State Archives Record Advisory Officer to say that we were pursuing this grant, and Michael Martin gave us his contact information and suggested that once we had the grant completed to reach out to him, which I shared that information with Tom tonight.
I think this is an important step is showing the state that we're committed to this grant application.
Absolutely. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Vehicle purchase for highway fleet.
I'll make a motion to authorize the purchase of the new vehicles that is written in the agenda based on the documentations submitted by the highway superintendent.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I want to make sure I understood it correctly because there's 3 in here. I'm not mistaken, one of them was not accepted. Is that correct, Andy? There was 3 of these in here. One of the quotes was not accepted. So the 2 quotes that were accepted is what's listed under this kind of. I'm sorry, what?
Pick the cheapest one out of this.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I think the only 2 on this one's for the highway, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe that the 25 F-350. That you'll see one with a price of 69,427 and change. And I believe the pricing on that came back slightly higher. And that was the original one that I was sent from the highway department, and then I was sent this a few days later. And so I believe you can disregard the one for 69,000. It's supposed to be the one for 70,000, $13.57. So that's what's written in the agenda. I believe that is incorrect. That's 69.
It's $70,013.57.
That's what's on the information that's in our packet, yes.
Thank you.
So if you want to change that in your agenda,
The other price is correct, 44,000.
as far as I know.
Okay.
How do you want to handle it? Do you want us to retract that, start over?
If it was whoever moved that originally, if they're acceptable with that change to their motion, you can proceed that way. And if you have,
then I'll make some, I mean, second on some.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Number 20, vehicle purchase, buildings and grounds.
Motion to purchase following vehicle based on documentation submitted by the town supervisor. That's listed in the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, millings and mulch piles.
Let's make a motion to assume the cost to be worked by Millington Mulch must stay within the confines of the town of Bend.
Second that.
Any discussion?
I think I might be. Huge on this. I think, John, you and I had some discussions about. That there might be possible uses for millings and mulch.
Yes.
On future projects.
Yes.
So gravel parking lots, such alike. I think, maybe if we had. And I'll look for a lawyer here. Right of first refusal, or, if we're doing a milling project or if we're generating mulch. I think the town of Benton should be the first to say, hey, do we have any gravel parking lots for these millings down? Is there any use for this mulch? I think that's what my thought was. We had talked about it.
as opposed to it being blanket that it cannot go outside the town boundary cemented. I think that you could certainly change it to be right of first refusal within the town. The question becomes procedurally, how is that determined? So that's something that would need some discussion, I would think. Okay.
My question, may I?
Yes.
I looked at this and I thought, well, if we're doing county work. And the county says this milling stuff is going someplace else, we're taking it someplace else in the county, because they give us. The right to say, no, we want it, no, we want it. I would think you're running into problems. And then let's say Rush comes and helps us with the project, and we say, we'll give some of this to you.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, it's basically the discretion of, this question's directed to you, Andy. At this point, it's up to the discretion of the highway superintendent.
miles. Or, well, if Hanson will take it, actually they would buy back, which is something. So they buy them back, so they stay amended, so. In last year, there was quite a few. That's what adds up the stat. Anyways, it was right to Hanson and they paid for it.
As an aside, I'm just gonna once again get on my soapbox and say having Andy there instead of up here on the board makes communication a lot more difficult for the board and for the town. I wish that would change. That being said, I don't see why this change needs to be. It's up to the discretion of the highway superintendent, whoever the highway superintendent is. I mean, if you say we're gonna need that milling for the splash park parking lot or whatever. Play that to the highway superintendent. I mean, I just think. I think if we build communication back into our vocabulary, then we can rely on the way things work as opposed to setting a policy. That's just my thought.
And what mulch are we?
Yeah, do you have mulch? I mean, they take the mulch away, right?
I talked about a grind pile. I don't know. I wasn't a part of any of this resolution. I don't know what you're talking about. So whatever they're talking about, I don't. It is, if they're mulch, there isn't any. If it's the wood chips, company that grinds it. That's why they're grinding it. So if you want to keep the wood chips, A, you got to find a place to relocate them because there's no room at the end of the year or anything. And B, you'll probably have to pay the grinding company, whether it's Solaz or Green Removal or one to. Figure $25,000-$30,000, right?
So they come and grind or chip it, it's chips,
Yeah, it's
not
very
mulch.
coarse. It's. Sticks like that, I remember, it's not mulch,
And then they take it away,
They-
grind it or chip it at their place.
whatever they do. It.
So if it's not being taken care of, it's going to pile up at the highway.
It's October. I have kids who are- Questions should have been asked.
I think there are some items that buildings and grounds might be able to use for. I just think if we can write this policy correctly to enable this discussion, it would happen. We have some, and I think that, you know, we're having some pretty good communications right now. I think this works very well with communications level. I think that, you know, we had a lot of millions last year that were, I don't know, if they're in counties, I don't know if they're in towns. But I think there's areas in the town that use them. And I don't recall that was ever discussed.
Does it make sense to table this discussion? Have a discussion offline between you, supervisor and Andy, and come up with.
Pile of bills back that I always give, so if you want some, just say, hey, I'll take it. Well, so pretty simple.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Even an email, not hard, just say, hey, you need a truckload of billings to point A.
Well, I think we're looking at some gravel parking lots, specifically that we're talking about the soccer field. Part of the issue with the soccer fields is parking. Parking the gravel parking lots is very difficult. My thought was if we put milling down after a couple of years, you can pay fines.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
So I guess, I mean, is your motion to table this?
I'd like to make a motion to table this. That doesn't sound like we're ready to put in pen and paper right now. Maybe next month after some discussions offline.
I agree.
Second on that? Second?
Yes, I'll second it.
All in favor of tabling? Any opposed? Thank you. Use of athletic fields for approval.
I'll make a motion to allow the use of the town athletic fields on Summer Road by the St. Thomas Aquinas homeschoolers of the Rochester area. April 26th through June 21st on Saturday mornings. Their certificate of liability insurance has been submitted, naming the town as a certificate holder.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is athletic fields. This is a committee creation.
I'll make a motion to authorize the formation of a citizens committee regarding athletic and recreation opportunities. Representatives from all and adult leagues in the town will be invited to participate.
Second that.
So this comes from our discussion with some of the people involved in soccer in our current fields on Summel Road, and the reconfiguration of those fields is that I think it would be a good idea for the town to take the lead on this and create a committee of individuals within the town who are associated with various youth and adult leagues to determine the, number one, what do we have and what are the needs? You know, we know from one organization that they would like to have more rectangular fields. Well, what about all the other organizations? You know, the school has facilities, the village has facilities. You know, I think it would be, and there's some private facilities as well. I think it would be a good idea to try to get all these people in a room and find out what their needs are, where they're going. Not to say we're gonna build a complex for everybody who needs another field, but at least get everybody in the room to say, here's your the various activities and sports, kind of like we went through this with pickleball a year ago or so, where people, you know, the tennis players were upset if pickleball lines got on, and the pickleball people wanted more pickleball fields, all that kind of thing. So I think it would be a good idea. I talked to Kim about.
I think it's a good idea. I know closely with the athletic director at school. And I spoke to one of the softball coaches for the community softball league. I think that, you know, Brian Donahue knows a lot of these key players, and to have everyone in a room together and find out the needs and the wants, including the village. But yeah, I know lacrosse is a huge thing, not only community wide, but then we have the softball, we have soccer, and we have ladies soccer, we have summer soccer. And I know, quite frankly, the school can't hold all of those, so I think it'd be great to have everybody all in one room together.
So we have a liaison from the school and from the village on this committee. Wow.
I think so, but it's.
I agree. So, I mean, we need to know what they already have.
Right.
I mean, you know, if, for instance, if we change the dimensions of the soccer fields on Sumter Road, I know lacrosse, they're not using it now. But would lacrosse come in and go, whoa, we'd never be able to use these things. This is bad for us. Well, you have a significant amount of fields, yes or no? They go, yeah, we got plenty of fields, we never need some more. Okay, fine. You know, I just think that there's a whole bunch of unanswered questions that comes to it.
I think it's a great move.
I think it is wonderful.
And to go back to the pickleball, you know, we were proposing a bid, or we were entertaining getting a bid, they pickleball lines, and all the tennis players came and we're like, yeah, sure, some lines at the corner, why not? And the pickleball, where the tennis players came and said, it's not a good idea. It's like, we don't know what we don't know. But if you have a committee, if you have people come in and tell us their viewpoint, then we know.
Right.
Anything else? Kim, you're willing to kind of spearhead the getting this off the ground?
Sure.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Summer recreation, this is ARPA funding usage.
Make a motion. Authorize the use of ARPA funds for the town village subsidy of the school summer recreation program. Pending approval by the village.
Second.
I am gonna recuse myself because I work at the school.
So the county gave the towns, Monroe County, funding through ARPA for youth and seniors programs. They did not give any money to the village. Or any village, for that matter. So, my thought process was that if we currently subsidize the, children who go to summer rec, is that for 2025, we not only subsidize the children who are in the town outside the village, but we also subsidize the children in the village, because the village didn't get any funding for that, and it just seems like that's, to me, seems like the fair thing to do. Obviously, it's only gonna be for 1 year, and this would still leave us with significant funds to do some things for seniors and possibly some other youth programs. However, we have it in our budget to spend right now. But I also have this in the budget for a revenue source, because at the time the budget was completed, we knew that this was probably gonna happen, but it still had to go through the legislature and all that kind of thing, so. The good news is that we would have some extra funds, B fund, that we would normally use for the summer rec program, but we would be able to utilize these ARPA funds.
Will we have a resolution later, knowing how much exactly or no?
Yes, we do, once they're signed. We don't
Okay.
know, because it's 200 and. Let's say it's $250 per camper,
Okay.
and until there's sign up, we don't know how many children are gonna sign up. But the numbers that were put in the budget are indicative of past performance.
Okay. All right.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. 25, historian, this is an article to submit to the Association of Towns. We'll move.
I'll second that.
Kim, do you want to give a little?
So at our
Synopsis.
next board meeting, I proposed, reaching out to Diane Ham about the Association of Towns is doing a celebration in 2026 of our nation's turning 250 years old, looking to highlight the town of Mendon. And I reached out to Diane, which I shared the email with each of you, and she responded back that she is very willing and able to do this, but she wanted some input. And so I feel like as a board, we need to discuss this. She's wondering if we've considered like the maximum number of words. They said it had to be an essay of minimum 500 words, but also she was looking for ideas for the subjects. Like, are we talking about Topiacan before the Revolutionary War? Do we want to focus on Mendon Ponds, the geology? Do we want to talk about the Revolutionary War acquired 25 years later, the cobblestone buildings, the Lehigh Valley Railroad? She needs like a direction to focus on this essay to highlight the town of Mendon across New York State.
She could probably write 6 articles.
So I'm just wondering what, from the board's standpoint, what direction would you guys like to see her go in?
This is not specific to what you said, but I would prefer, like, Mattapox Park is great, but again, it resides, most of it resides in the town of Mendon, but it's a county park, so. I'd like to, when you say cobblestone, I'm like, that just kind of strikes a chord, because that kind of reminds me of this community, whatever. I'm not saying that's the one, but it's something that's a little bit more indicative of what this town is. Agricultural town, it's a big stop on the rail, and that, maybe something like that, the rail would.
The stagecoaches as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Big stagecoach.
That would be very interesting.
In the college, so
Yes.
you anything about that?
Oh, I think everybody's got it covered.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will respond back to her then.
Is there, we got a motion. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, floater repair approval.
Make a motion to authorize repair of Volvo L9 boot loader by Alter Equipment Company according to their quote number SQT 169-397 dated March 6, 2025, for amount not to exceed $6,221.87. From account, if I'm not mistaken, that should be DB 5130.0.4.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
0.4.
0.4.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is the historic tax credit article. Approval for the sum.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize Historic Preservation Commission Martha Bush to submit an article to the Sentinel on historic tax credits.
Second.
So when I received this, I sent it over to the assessor to review, and he said basically that there's nothing in there that's inaccurate. But it also has nothing to do with the town of Mendon's assessment office. It is regarding the Historic Preservation Commission, and he saw no problems with us proceeding with the article. She is a member of our Historic Preservation Commission. I just felt better about the board knowing about it in advance than just reading about it in the paper.
The signage will say Martha Bush, member of the Mendon. I mean, how would you like it attributed?
Or she wants to. She's sending it to them.
Oh,
We're
so
just telling
Martha
her.
Bush.
Yeah, we're just telling her to go. I mean,
To go ahead, it's okay, but yeah.
But she said that she's a member of the Historic Preservation Commission. Be nice, I think. But
Yeah, that might give her a little more crowd.
I think if there's any changes to the article before she signs it, I'd like the supervisor and assessor to review it again. Just to make sure it's still consistent.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. New number 28 is 284 Green.
Yes, I got thinking about that and I thought, I think she did this, so I did go back and look. And it says it is resolution, it was in our organizational meeting. We passed resolution number 25-057, that agreement. And then I copied and pasted it on this document I brought with me. And it says that the undersigned and all that, so didn't we sign it?
You never signed it, you did make me
Omitted.
if I'm not mistaken, section 284 the law doesn't have to be pass it. It needs to be executed, so it needs to be signed by the highway superintendent, supervisor, and if I'm not mistaken, at least the majority of this board.
Yes.
And 2 copies, one at the highway department, one at here, so yes, we talked about it and agreed on the revisions on there. But we don't have an executed contract.
Correct.
Okay, I remember signing something, I don't know where I signed it from.
That wasn't it.
Okay,
So the original one had some work done on Stony Lonesome Road.
Right,
Which the town board omitted. But we need a new 284 agreement that's from the highway superintendent to the town board. And then if it's signed by the highway superintendent, signed by the town board, then we can proceed.
okay, so what,
Right. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get Andy's. You're working a lot.
I don't believe they could admit when I put on a 284 agreement. I don't think that we should admit any work on Stony Lonesome. This is gonna be a small change. What we're gonna eliminate is just one little stretch going up the hill. You're gonna have to still oil and snow the road. We're still gonna have to oil and snow the new parking area. Still needs to be oil and snow, and since it gets fresh lined up, if it falls, if it gets done at the right time, should probably double shoot it. And if there's enough money on double shoot everything, since it's gonna be basically a giant drive with 3 homes. We're gonna eliminate all the traffic, and that'll make that road in really good shape for 10 to 12 years before you have to go back and revisit it. But traffic down just for people that are getting out. So
So I would basically just leave that estimate, because you're taking away some. Obviously, but you're also putting some back in. So without going back, I would just leave it. There might be some signage, there might be some other stuff, landlocks moving. Once you get in there, you can also, it's not gonna be that far off. I thought we had removed that because we don't have an amount. We don't have a quote because we didn't know what we were doing. So therefore, we removed it from the 284 agreement. Because without that executing 284 agreement, we can't purchase any of the materials for the other projects that are going on in town. However, we can amend that 284 agreement as we move forward throughout the year. So once we have prices for Stony Lonesome, once the plans are in place, we can go back and amend that 284 agreement. But if we don't execute that 284 agreement, we can't approve any purchases for any materials on any of the road improvements.
Correct.
So,
So
Leave it. And I'll leave it. they'll
It's-
sign it.
it's inaccurate because the amount that's attributed to Stony Lonesome Road does not include the work that Tom talked about tonight. And that work has to be included in the 284 because it's a town road.
That's
To be amended.
less chips pays for it.
Now, even if CHIP pays for it.
I
it still has
asked
to-
the
it has to be
comptroller,
on the 284 agreement.
I specifically asked the comptroller that question at the AOT. He said, all CHIPS money, he said, most of your highway funds improvements are done with CHIPS funds, and they all have to be on that 284 agreement.
so
Leave it. Leave it.
It's inaccurate. The amount that's attributed to Stony Lonesome Road is inaccurate. If we take Stony Lonesome off that agreement and we pass it and everyone signs it, the work can begin on the other roads. Once Tom finishes his work, and we proceed, then as Brent said, it can be amended for the work that's going to be done on Stony Lonesome with appropriate funding.
Sorry, I didn't hear you say.
I don't even see anyone.
It was on the 284 agreement that was presented in that packet.
Well, maybe it was down the road. I thought it was.
Okay, so,
But maybe I just passed the resolution, but Stony Lonesome doesn't show up out here.
so we omit Stony Lonesome. Knowing that we can amend it when we get all the plans. And we can execute this contract. Okay, what actually needs to happen for that? Is this something that you need to do and?
Whatever you want to do.
Do you want something, do you want the highway superintendent to delete Stony Lonesome?
That's what our motion was at the organizational meeting.
Okay,
That was our discussion. We had the communications back and forth. We were all in agreement. If I'm not mistaken, highway superintendent agreed to that as well. And we're gonna admit it, and then we were gonna execute that contract with the understanding we can amend that in the future, as you just stated.
Okay, that's where we go.
Any other discussion? No resolution to pass, correct?
Correct.
All right.
So as soon as that's done, then the 284 agreement is signed, sealed, and delivered and so.
Yeah, once we get, it always starts from the highway department, they present it to the town board. Town board has already approved it, all we need to do is sign it with Stony Lonesome admitted, and it's off to the races.
The only thing that I saw in here was this. Additionally, there was discussion regarding Stony Lonesome Road. Specifically, the possibility of converting the east side, blah, blah, blah. And then it says dot.
We,
That's it.
I would just say that my recollection was adopted without the Stony Lonesome portion, because we were considering what Tom Proberger presented tonight. Because we just weren't sure were we really gonna do it. When talk, at that point, we had to talk to the state. We were, it was very much up in the air.
And
A
I
lot-
also
lot
want
is-
to say, I'm sorry for interrupting, John. But we also, this has to go to the DEC. This has to go to the DOT. We have to get comments from regulatory agencies. So we don't have a number for this work now.
So just leave this whole thing, this part out.
Yeah, all the improvements on Stony Lonesome, my recollection is we left it all out at the organization.
My recollection is wrong.
So we adopted, we didn't execute. Let's execute.
All for it. Okay, we good? We good? Okay. We'll move on to, that was number 28. Our new number 29 is public comment. Anybody? Yes, sir.
Two, if I may. As part of the Stony Lonesome evaluation.
Sir, can I interrupt you just for a second?
Oh,
Could you give us your name and address?
Tanner Cheek, 67 Hedgerow Circle.
Thank you.
You come up here.
As part of the Stony Lonesome Road project, was there an impact analysis on where the displaced traffic was gonna go? And if we're going to kind of shift the problem from one intersection to another?
Sir, I'm sorry, but it's not really a question and answer period. It's a comment
Okay,
section.
I will go to my next
So if you wanna phrase that in a comment, we certainly will take it into consideration.
Yeah, sure. So as part of the Quaker Meeting House Road presentation, doesn't appear that there was a very in-depth impact analysis on where the displaced traffic will go. And if we are shifting the problem from one intersection to another. My second, it sounds to me that if Andy was sick, Andy, right? If Andy was sick today, the board would have passed a motion that would have not only incurred incremental cost to the taxpayers, but also potentially lost revenues from selling buildings. I would recommend that before presenting a motion, especially presenting and seconding a motion, if there was enough communication to make sure all of the potential impacts are understood. Not sure how many other times unexpected cost or revenue have been incurred because of lack of communication, but it's concerning as a citizen.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
That the motor repairs are on the DA.
Can't hear him.
She can, I know it.
No, you're very hard to hear it.
I believe the loader repairs should be taken out of DA, not DA 5130. Brent said DA 5130, that account does not exist.
Thank you.
Just to clarify that.
Thank you. Gary, do you have something you want to say?
Gary Luke on Selma Road. Couple things, in your athletics committee creation. You talked, I believe Tom talked about the tennis players like this. They're not part of any organization. And so it didn't sound like they would be able to have any input into the park. Since you were going to, we talked to the heads of all the organizations. And individual residents are the ones that use the parks. And they use the tennis courts and even the pickleball. I don't know if they have a committee or not. I just like to hope that, I don't play tennis, but I would hope that somehow you would include the residents of the town too. And somehow, I don't know how you would do that, but just my opinion. I would hope that as a part of this athletic field, that they would review the costs that the town is going to incur or does incur for maintenance and to put new soccer fields in or new whatever. And see how much they're gonna recoup. Right now, the town, you might as well not even charge these people for using the fields, it's negligible. To charge somebody $100, use it for the whole summer for one night. Costs more than that to mow it. So I would hope that town would look at recouping some of their money. One of the problems that a lot of the people, the athletic organizations don't want to use it is because of the insurance requirements. That we lost some people like the women's softball, they couldn't do the insurance requirements like this, but I believe that it's necessary to protect the town. So you may build nice fields, but they don't want to use them because you make them pay money. The Stony Lonesome thing, I'm hoping that the town has contacted maybe the state legislators to see if they could get some money. I don't know if they have. Seems like it'd be a great project for a state legislator. I'm gonna reduce accidents at this location. I'll give you 10,000, 100,000, a million. I don't know how much they'll give you. But I would hope that you would contact them. And in the meantime, if you want to stop the accidents and the state goes along with it, put a guardrail up right across Stony Lonesome Road, make it a dead end. And don't go through all this rigmarole until you can decide what you want to do for sure. You can stop the accidents, guardrail will stop the accidents that people can't cross. And like this, and if you put up the proper signage, you know, it's gonna be better. I guess that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to. Was, public comment 30, executive session. Is there a motion to move into executive session for personnel actions? So moved.
Who seconded?
Just for anybody who's in the audience,
Second.
we will be coming out of executive session, excuse me, session. So if you would like to wait, we will open the doors and, make that announcement, and in which case you can come back in.
Vote on going
Yeah.
Cindy seemed like she was making
That's why I just wanted to, make sure we go.